Hafide, and welcome to Life in Balance. In this episode, we'll be taking you on a ride. First, we'll gear up for the ride with tips from the president of the Guam Cycling Federation, Eric Tidinko. Then we'll learn about biking essentials from PNC's Don Sulat. And finally, we're packing you on the back of our bikes, fastening our helmets, and hitting the road. All this on this episode of Life in Balance.
Well, the GCF, or Guam Cycling Federation, is the official governing body of the sport of cycling on Guam. And so our mission really is to promote the sport and the lifestyle of cycling and to create opportunities for experienced and advanced riders, to give them the opportunity to represent Guam off island, whether it's in regional games or the Olympics possibly. And so that's what we do, and the federation has been around for quite a long time. And so I've been the president for roughly about 7 years. I got into it maybe around the 2002, 2003 era. I was some friends of mine were into triathlon, and I actually started with triathlon, which incorporates cycling as part of the three disciplines of that sport, which are the other ones are swimming and running. And so just by virtue of doing triathlons, I got into cycling, and then it's just been great since then. I really enjoy it. It's an activity that allows you to explore the island in some places I had never seen, and I've grown up here. And so it's aside from the healthy benefits of cycling, there's also the ability to go out, like I said, and be a tourist almost, on Guam, and see things that probably you wouldn't get to see if you were just trying to explore the island in a car. The health benefits include, well, for one, depending on if you just do a regular regimen of cycling, you're able to add to your cardiovascular fitness, and it's a low impact method of obtaining cardio fitness. Your feet and your joints aren't hitting hard pavement when you run, as compared to like when you're running. So it's relatively easier on your body that way. It's easier to recover from workouts. But yeah, it's really the kind of the cardio benefits of the sport in relation to running. I think it just has a little bit more longevity to a person's ability to kind of continue on this activity. Well, safety is always paramount. You got to get a helmet. I mean, first off, it's the law, and get familiar with some of the existing rules and regulations and laws regarding cycling. Now, you don't necessarily have to ride on the road. There are road cyclists. I do that myself, and you don't necessarily have to do that. But if you do graduate to that level of comfort and experience where you're riding on the road, legally you're allowed to be there, but like I said, there are certain restrictions that bikes have. You have to be on the right side, and you certainly have to follow the rules of the road, which means that when you come to a stop sign or a red light, you have to obey those laws. But for those who are really, I would say if you're just starting out, you might want to just ride around on like grassy trails or on some of the parks, like for instance, Asa Memorial Park. You can ride around there and just kind of get used to it. It's relatively safe, open. There's not a lot of obstructions to kind of throw you off. And it's just a way to kind of get your legs used to it. And I think the number one concern for a lot of people is that they're not used to riding. If you're not used to riding, you get off and then your butt starts to ache, I guess, because they're not used to sitting on a bike saddle for extended period of time, and that will eventually dissipate and go away. The more it's just like anything, you get used to it, your body gets used to it. So anyway, but yeah, I would say go with friends who are more experienced than you and have a little bit more knowledge, and then that way you can kind of get the right pointers for somebody who is just starting out. Especially if you have multiple gears. Some people, it's kind of daunting. You have multiple speeds on a bike. How do you shift? How do you, what do you do? And if you don't know, there's always YouTube and the internet that kind of helps you too. So, well, you don't want to eat anything too heavy. And it really depends on how long you're going. How intense you're going to. Are you going to make it an intense workout, or are you just going leisurely and to just recreate? If you're going to have a serious workout or you're going to participate in a race, you really do have to treat it seriously. You have to know what foods are going to be useful to you, and so nothing too heavy, like with a lot of oils. I know that for a lot of endurance races, a lot of people will carbo load, just kind of like in running too. You want to build up a lot of the carbohydrates because that's what your body fuels itself on. But it really, and you know what, your body will, the more you partake in cycling, your body will also kind of tell you what foods work and what foods don't. But I would say one of the biggest things that I've learned is that no matter how you feel afterwards, you should always stretch, because you may feel tired after your bike ride or your workout, but if you don't stretch, you're going to feel the aches even longer. So, go ahead and stretch out afterwards, especially your back, and then get into a regular routine of that, and it honestly, it'll prolong your enjoyment of the sport. Well, I think something like a mountain bike would be the best option, I think, to explore if you're new, because you're able to go. You're not limited to the terrain. If you're on a road bike, tires are made for the road. They're made for pavement, and so if you don't do that and you're not comfortable riding on the road, then that's not going to be useful to you. So get something like a mountain bike, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but one with gears that you get, multiple gears, so that you can, if there's some hills that you have to climb, that you're able to climb them without really burning your legs out. And so, but yeah, I would just say a mountain bike with some, decent knobby tires on it. You can go off-road or on-road. The Cycling Federation just wants to encourage cyclists and motorists to really respect each other. I know that in the past, and it's always it's an ongoing battle, but some motorists feel that if they see cyclists on the road, that they shouldn't belong, that they don't belong there. And I've had many close encounters myself with irate drivers, and a lot of it is we just don't know where that kind of animosity is coming from. So I just ask the motorists to be really kind and just think of us as family members, and we have loved ones who want us to come home too, and so we're not trying to impede your progress to get where you are. We're just out there trying to enjoy our sport and be healthy, but also I implore the cyclists out there to also be mindful of the motorist, and to also not take advantage of the fact that yes, you're legally be on there, but you need to also follow the rules of the road.
And don't pedal away. Up next, PNC's very own Don Sulat shows us what we need before we hit the road. Day and welcome back to Life in Balance. Okay, so we are here with Don Sulat, who is not only PNC's lead reporter, he's also an avid cyclist. Don, how are you doing today?
I'm Cherry Cheluz.
Yes, this is so good to hear. So the reason why I ask this is because we are going to embark on a biking journey to Retidian. So, before we get into that, I really wanted to ask you, because you are an avid cyclist, if you could give us a rundown of what's going on here and what we need to go biking.
All right, so right over here, we have my bike over here. Number one thing before you got to set it all up, you have to have air in the tires, safety check. But most importantly, you cannot forget, regardless of the gear, one thing is safety. Always bring your helmet along. You want to take a look at that?
Yes, this is number one.
So it fits.
Number one.
And then next up, you want, because I am a road cyclist, as you guys know, Guam cycling community has grown a lot since the pandemic. You want to be seen on the road, especially if you're biking nighttime, daytime. Number one thing, you should have a backlight over here. Even if it's day, keep this thing on so the cars can see you. The more visibility you have on the road, the better.
Right.
Of course, if you want to see in front of you, especially when you're biking at night, have a front light. It's nice to have two, but for now, the more lumens, this has pretty good lumens, aka it shines pretty bright. So next thing in terms of what's good to have in terms of safety is gloves. These things really help out a lot, especially when you're biking long miles. Your hands do cramp up every now and then, and it does help if you do have cycling shades on or glasses to wipe them off. It's kind of, if you take a look at that, they do have padding. If you see in there are gels.
Oh, I do see this. So this is also, of course, for safety, but it provides extra cushion over here because you don't want to get the causes. No, this is not what we want. Okay, so we have the gloves. What else do we have over here, Don?
So next step, well, this bike over here, if you can see, these are called clipless pedals. They're not your standard like flat pedals that everyone's used to. These things are so if you're biking super fast, like at around 30 miles an hour, which has happened, especially on the road or when you're biking down Seti Bay or any hill, so your feet don't fly off. It is for safety as well. To help secure yourself, you have these things, cycling shoes with clips inside of them. You can tell they've been loved a lot. So you clip it in while you're biking. Make sure once you hear that sound, that click sound, you're good to go. You can go bike. But
that's when you know.
Yes, but be aware if you have these things on, you have to twist your ankle to go out. It sounds hard, but it's really not. It's really you're just twisting your ankle.
Okay, so there's a method to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has happened where I had these things on. I'm biking, and my first week of practicing, and I fell because I forgot that I had them on.
That's okay. Just get right back up.
Yep. So next thing we have is shades. This falls under. It's nice to have, but you don't need it. These are cycling shades, like I mentioned earlier. When you're sweating or when it's raining, you can use your gloves, wipe them off, keep going. It does help against the sun. These are prism lenses. These do have under polarized, so that way the glare doesn't hurt you so much. Right. You want to take a look at that as well?
Wow. Let's see if I can just try these on too. Oh yeah.
You're already looking more like a cyclist. Gear. So next, if you want, you don't need this, but if you're going the long distance, if you are doing a milestone in every cyclist's life, which is a century is a 100-mile ride. So it's good to have these on. I'm part of Rough Riders Guam, as you can tell by the jersey. And in the back, if you want to hold it, they have pockets. So if you want to look like your favorite Tour de France rider,
it's very spacious.
Yeah,
you can put
jersey.
Other things in here too.
You can put a bottle. So these are, if you have two over here, if you need an extra one, you can put over here. And you can also put away, I didn't bring them today, but you will see them in Retidian. They're called goos. They're energy gels. Put them in the back, rip them out. Because it's what I like about cycling. As you can tell, I'm a hefty dude. You can eat while you're cycling.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite sports because it's one of the few sports you can eat while you're doing it. So you can put your granola bars, you can put your goos, put your cell phone. My cell phone lives back here because I like to reach with my my left hand. So yeah, and I have another one here.
Yes.
It's one of my favorites because these are the coordinates for Guam.
And I love this. This is so cute.
That's also why
and
I got
it also has the same pockets again for your food, your cell phone, and your goo, which we love. And I am really interested in the fashion portion of this. I, of course, love getting active, but I also want to look cute while I'm doing it. And also, would you say, is this comfortable? Because this is typically when I see bikers on the road, they're usually wearing something very tight-fitting.
Yes.
So could you just explain why that is?
Yeah, so this goes over your bib shorts, which I'll show you in a moment. They're meant to be super skin tight because when you're biking the long distances, when you're going on a century ride, you don't want to have so much loose fabric on you because you'll chafe.
Oh,
And that's,
okay.
I've had stories, not me personally, but people have bled under lower thigh area because they're going so quickly and long time, and the fabric is rubbing against them.
Oh, okay,
So
that
that's
makes so much sense.
Yeah, so it is meant to be skin tight. And next is my favorite thing to show off because it's funny to look at, let's be honest. But it's called a bib shorts, and the way I describe it is it looks like a leotard if you're a wrestler. So these are bib shorts. And for everybody out there, a little secret when you're seeing your favorite cyclists like on the road or in Tour de France, they're not wearing underwear. You have to go commando in these.
Wow, but is this also, this is across the board?
Yes.
So men and women.
Men and women. There are cycling shorts that don't have this right here.
Right.
But I do have a pair of them, but I use them more for training. Like if I'm only going like on a 10K ride, which is 6 miles.
Yes.
Short rides. But if I'm going on a long ride, I want to make sure that the crack of dawn's not showing. But if you take a look inside, actually, there is padding.
Right.
Chamois. You also have like a chamois cream to help prevent chafing as well.
Yes.
Because in the cycling community, it's normal to ride more than 100 miles. You have people, my friend recently did one, he did 200 miles.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but not here in Guam.
Yes, so also that padding is to also provide extra comfort.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, because you are sitting for a long while.
Yes, these seats, especially, so there's different types of bikes. You have gravel bikes, road bikes, you have mountain bikes. This is a road bike itself. The seat is not super comfortable. You can get what they call carbon seats, light seats, but they're still not, any seat hurts when you've been sitting on it.
I'm more than sure, especially this one. This looks not the most comfortable, but because you have padding in this bib, I'm sure it'll be fine.
It gets durable. You learn to live with it. The more time you sit on the saddle, the more it legit becomes part of you.
Right.
So next up on, it's nice to have, especially if you're an avid cyclist, but you really don't need it.
Right.
But it helps if you're also training. So if you look over here, you do have what we call a cycling computer. It's a Garmin.
Oh.
But it connects to, if you have a cycling watch or a fitness watch, or in this case, heart rate monitor, which you strap around your chest, underneath your jersey and over your bib shorts.
Yes.
Some people like to put it under, I like to put it over. But essentially just tracks how far you've been going. It connects to the app on your cell phone.
Yes.
And it makes sure that it tracks the distance, your route as well. And it also lets you know, like, hey, you went a little too hard today. You might want to recover. One time it gave me 72 hours of recovery time. So they're like, okay, maybe I should listen to that.
Yes.
And what I found nice was it also tracks how often you drink and how much liquid you let out.
Aw, that's so nice. It's actually like a reminder. It's your friend, your best friend as you're biking.
Yeah. So,
right.
yeah, those are nice things to have. And then with the pump, they have different, I'm not too sure, I just call them the nozzles.
Yes.
This pump is more universal. It does work with these tires, but like certain bikes or certain wheels have different pumps.
Yes.
But across the board, if you know, you just get an adapter, you're fine. So that's pretty much it on the cycling kit.
Awesome. Well, okay, so we are preparing for a bike ride pretty soon. And for me, I'm not an avid bike rider. The last time I rode a bike was probably in middle school. I do know how to ride a bike though. But for people who don't have all this gear, what are easily accessible things that we can take from our closet that we can use on our bike ride? And if you had to choose, what here is absolutely necessary for a person interested in biking?
Number one thing, especially if you're gonna be on the road, it has to be the helmet. You cannot let go of the helmet.
Yes.
And you don't have to worry about like the kit. Again, these are nice things to have. You don't need them. at the end of the day, so long as you're active, you know, one of the reasons why I got into biking was because you don't need this. My first bike was something I got off a yard sale, just got me going. What I liked about cycling, what kept me going actually, was because it's such a low impact sport. So that's why I kept using it. But you can honestly go biking in what I'm wearing right now. This is what I used to wear, except I would wear long sleeves just because I didn't want that uneven tan, but you learn to live with it. It comes with the territory as a cyclist.
Yes.
But yeah, so just go out, number one thing is a helmet. It's nice to have this, even if you're not, but it's extremely nice to have the bike light. But if you're not riding on the road, stick to the sidewalk, stick to your local park, stick to anywhere where there's not a lot of cars. You'll be okay until you can get the next investment, which should be your lights, but priority should be your helmet.
Yes. All right, Don. Well, thank you so much for showing us your bike kit and for all this insightful information. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for that bike ride.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Up next, Don and I get the wheels spinning as we roll out and hit the road. Well, we got our tips and we know what we need for the ride, so we woke up feeling prepared as the day of our Retidian bike ride finally arrived. Thankfully, there was no need to make room for the bikes in our car as Don already had a bike rack. We parked in a safe and open area and unloaded the bikes. However, even though we were feeling pumped for the bike ride, we first had to make sure to pump our tires. Well, Don made sure there was air in our tires. And finally, after having a little trouble with my headgear, we fastened our helmets and went over important safety tips.
Hafiday, and welcome back to Life in Balance. So Don and I have finally made it to Retidian. Today is the day that we are going to ride. Don, are you ready?
Born ready.
Ooh, I love that energy. Okay, we are so ready. I'm ready. I hope you guys are ready. Let's do it.
Here, Don is demonstrating drafting, which is a technique that requires the cyclist in the front to take the headwind so that the cyclists in the back aren't fighting the wind, making pedaling much easier. Again, safety is an essential part of biking, so Don and I will show you bike signs to stay safe while you ride. Finger pointing is a signal for hazards. This sign is usually for minor road or trail obstructions. These signs are known as lean left or lean right. Cyclists in the front use this sign to let those in the back know to lean to the left or to the right to avoid constant potholes or obstructions on the road. And finally, the stop sign. To signal a big group to stop, the cyclist in the front uses this sign to warn those in the back of an oncoming stop sign or red light. Here, Don is demonstrating how to sprint, and I am showing you guys the aerial position. These two techniques are used in racing. The car back signal is essential. The cyclist in the back alerts those in the front that a car is passing or overtaking. Thus, the cyclists have to lean to the far right to allow the cars to pass. And to celebrate the completion of our Retidian bike ride, we enjoyed a snack favored by the biking community.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Delicious. Don, that is not it. How? Ooh, so delicious. tastes good. All right, so Don and I finally finished our Retidian bike ride. And Don, how long did we bike for?
We biked almost a full 5 kilometers. Good to get her feet wet for when we go on the road sometime in the future.
Okay, and as an avid bike rider, how do you think I did?
You did pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, you listened to instructions great.
Oh yeah.
You were very mindful of the road, of the cars. Remember, share the road. If a car needs to pass, let them pass.
Yes. All right, well, thank you, Don, for your time. Thank you for coming on this bike ride. It literally, I feel balanced on this bike. I feel that my life is in balance. All right. Okay, so we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the next episode, so don't forget